Hi everyone, in today's video I'll show you how to draw beautiful realistic honey. If you're new in here, hi, my name is Irina. I'm an illustrator slash visual artist working mainly with Procreate on my iPad Pro. After shooting this video, I did this poll on my Instagram account asking if you guys want me to do a voiceover or just add background music to this video, and the voiceover kind of won. I say kinda cause they're really close. By the way, you should totally check out my Instagram account. I'm very active on the Insta stories, sharing my daily routine, my filming process, spontaneous drawing videos, and most importantly, color palettes and sketches that you can use to recreate my YouTube tutorials. Back to the tutorial, you can probably tell right now that I'm working on the deeper stick. I will draw the honey on top of it and around it, and it will be semi-transparent, so the stick must look as nice as possible to complement it. To make the shading easier, I chose to draw every element on a separate layer. Of course, you can merge them later in the process when the object is ready. Okay, now we'll create a new layer and draw the honey. Don't worry if the shape is not perfect at the moment. When I have to draw liquids and other materials that don't have a fixed shape, I feel it looks a lot more natural to work a little bit on that contour instead of trying to get it perfect from the first strokes. To do that, I use either the transform tool or the liquify. In this case, we're drawing a liquid, the liquify tool, and they look like a match made in heaven, so that's what we'll use. Take your time working on that shape and don't be afraid to undo as much as you need. I'm sure you know this by now, but anyway, the undo shortcut is tapping two fingers on the screen. Yeah, I know, my middle name right now should be Captain Obvious. When I'm finally happy with the shape of that honey, I'll make the layer more transparent in order for me to be able to work on that deeper stick. I'll fast forward the video until I'm back to the honey, cause this right here is just basic Procreate shading. If you're struggling with this process, there are plenty of tutorials on this channel. Go pick any of them and you'll understand what I'm doing. I'll just mention again that every element of that object is on a different layer and that I turned on the alpha lock to make sure I keep the shading inside the contour. You know this, I'm gonna say it anyway. The shortcut for the alpha lock is swiping two fingers on the layer name. This is an extra step, but I'm gonna choose a different brush just to add some more texture on the object. This one is the Desert Land brush, it's part of my complete Procreate set. Don't worry if you don't have it, you can absolutely skip this step. To be even more extra, make sure to invert the grain source when shading in the light, this will make the pattern match seamlessly. To do that, open the Brush Studio, go to the grain source, edit, and tap two fingers on the grain source image to invert it. Okay, the next step is really important, so make sure you don't skip it. It's not that you cannot make this without this step, but trust me, it will make your life so much easier. Increase the opacity of your honey layer to 100% and select the content of the layer, and then save and load that selection so you can use it later. Just remember, it's the heart button on the bottom of the screen. Before we continue this, just let me add some texture on this cause it just hurt my eyes right now. Okay. We'll use the eraser with the recycled paper brush to erase some of the honey layer content to make it transparent for real this time. By alpha locking it, we can only paint on the existing pixels, so we will keep this transparency no matter the brush you use on top. Wait, let me prove it to you. Okay, I'll undo this and add some dark shadows to give this honey some volume, because right now it looks quite flat. Now, I'd really like to add some more opaque strokes, so I'll get rid of the alpha lock and turn on that selection we created a few steps ago. By doing this, I won't be bothered by the transparency of the layer, and I won't have to be careful not to paint outside the edges. So this is a good trick to have on your hand when working in Procreate. Keep that in mind. If you've been watching my tutorials before, you know by now that my favorite method of adding highlights is by using the selection tool. I created a separate layer for the highlights because they need to be on top of everything. Now let's do some magic. This is my favorite part of this process. I'll be using my spotted texture brush to add texture and glimmer to the honey layer. Again, if you don't own this brush, you can totally skip this step, but I promise it makes such a huge difference. I really like this brush, and I'm not saying that just because I created it, but it mimics the honey substance so good, and it's just what I needed to make this illustration stand out. At this point, the illustration is almost ready. I'll add a few small details, just because I'm such a perfectionist. Let me know if you enjoyed this tutorial and if you think you got to learn something here. If there's something you did not understand of this process, please message me on Instagram and I'll try my best to help you. Just please have a little patience It might take a couple of days for me to answer because I get lots of messages, but I promise I'm writing back to everyone, always. Don't forget that I'll upload the color palette and sketch for this illustration on my Instagram account, so make sure to check out my feed if you're planning to recreate this one. You'll find the link in the video description. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. See you really soon.